Hey everybody, Jeremy here. So today I'm going to be kicking off my series of reviews for the Marvel Legends X-Men Age of Apocalypse Colossus Build-A-Figure wave. And we're going to be starting things off with Cyclops. So if you're interested in this wave, it is starting to hit stores right now, and it consists of 7 figures, but you only need 6 of them in order to get all the pieces to build Colossus. And those 6 are going to be, of course, Cyclops here. We also are going to have Rogue, Sabretooth, which is the hardest one to find right now, Shadowcat, Iceman, and Legion. Now there's also a Magneto that looks pretty sweet, but he doesn't come with any Build-A-Figure piece, so you can just kind of get him to round out the collection. All right, so I'm going to be doing this just like the way that I did the Marvel Legends What If series of figures. So I'm going to be knocking these out one at a time as quickly as I can. And yeah, without further ado, let's take a look at Cyclops, which has always been one of my favorite X-Men. Oh, Scott. All right, let's talk about this guy. First, the looks. How does he look? Well, he looks like he does in the Age of Apocalypse comics, and that's to say, pretty darn plain. It's not the fault of the figure, it's just the way that, it is. We got the traditional Cyclops blue tight spandex all the way up and down, even including his shoes. But in this version, he still has that gold color scheme going on with the blue. Got some armor on the right arm along with some gloves, some padded gloves, gold utility belt, same thing on the right arm. And they also did it up so that it looks like he's been through some battles. It's scratched up. So you can see that they put in some scratches all around the armor, front and back. But there are no scratches on the utility belt, which to me is kind of weird. So he has scratches everywhere else, even on the gloves, on the pad of the fist. But once you get down to the utility belt, it's just plain molded gold plastic. No scratches there. It's the only part that did not see battle. That is awfully strange to me. I wish they would have, if you're doing it, just go all the way. I don't understand why they stopped there. But the best part about this figure, as far as the looks go, I think, is the head sculpt. It's the head sculpt, and it's definitely that hair. I really like the long hair. I dig the long hair. I dig the long hair on the Magneto figure. I just think that it's a really cool look, and it really stands out. I'm used to Cyclops with short hair, so, seeing him with long hair really definitely tells me this is not the same guy that I'm used to, and something is really going on here, and I dig that look. I really, really do. But that's the best thing about this figure, I think, is the head sculpt, because everything else is just kind of, it's plain. And then when you look at the articulation, I think it's also kind of disappointing. So what I mean by that is we can start with the right arm, the elbow joint. So it's a single jointed elbow. So you see, we got this here. Okay, we bring it up, we can bring it out, and then we got that 90-degree angle for the elbow joint, and that's it. I would have liked to see a double jointed elbow, but that's not something that we get. And another thing is, you can't bring the arm across the shoulder. You can't bring the arm you can't bring the arm across the chest and close to the chest. I mentioned this in a couple of earlier reviews. I love it when figures allow you to take the arm and bring it close around the chest. I just think that it makes for a much better look. It opens up more different possibilities for your poses and whatnot. But we see we're just kind of stuck here with this gap. So we can't get any closer to the chest than that. And then when you move over to the left arm, while I'm happy that the armor doesn't hinder that you can get the arm up, just like you can do with the other arm without the armor. The elbow joint is even worse on the left arm than it is on the right arm, because we can get this much, just that one little click, so there it is. 1, bend the elbow, 2. That's it, and it's not even the 90 degrees. The right arm is more like a 90-degree angle with the fist sticking up. But you can't do that with this one because, it gets caught up because of the armor on the arm there, and the plastic starts to rub up against each other. So you can only get this far of an arm bend on the left arm. And it's not even useful, in my opinion, at that point. And then the other thing is, if you don't bend the arm and you just kind of leave it like that, it leaves this really noticeable gap right there in the joint, which is something that doesn't usually come to my attention. But this is really obvious. That is a sizable gap right there. And it's so distracting and ugly to me that I just have to bend that elbow just a little bit just so that I can hide it. And yeah, it's whew. I'm not a fan of that. So the upper body, I'm not thrilled with. Moving over to the lower body, for the legs, we got double jointed knees. So, that's good with a double jointed knee. And then, of course, you got your swivels up here at the upper thigh. You can swivel that. And then you can swivel at the boot. So great. You got yourself some ankle pivot. Really nice and easy to do the ankle pivot. But I did have some frozen joints at the foot. You can see it's not doing that now, so you can move the foot articulation up and down, but it wasn't like that at first. It was stiff. It was pretty much solid. So solid. So when I tried to move the foot, I would I would end up taking the foot off, just trying to bend it up, and I would just pull, and then, the foot would fly off. And so thankfully the foot is easy to reattach. But if you do have problems with frozen joints, either on this figure or another figure, it's not the end of the world. All you have to do is just run it under some hot water or get yourself a blow dryer. But hot water is usually the fastest way to do it because you don't have to go and plug anything in. And just let it sit there for a little bit and then start working at it. And then it'll free itself up and then you'll be good to go. That's what I ended up having to do with this guy. Give him the old hot water treatment. And yeah, it freed that joint up. It's still a little bit stiff, but you just gotta kind of keep working at it, and then it becomes less of a problem, definitely. But, at the end of the day, I was really hoping that this figure would be so much more. And it doesn't take like a whole lot, just having, double jointed elbow. And if it wasn't going to get a double jointed elbow, at least the ability to move this arm closer to the chest, so that I can kind of get it across. It's just something that I like to do. And it's just this articulation, it's lacking. Like I say, can't really do anything with the left arm. You get that horrible looking joint if the arm is not bent. That's very, very noticeable. And he doesn't come with any accessories. Oh, and by the way, there's a hole on the back of him. Now, I'm not the biggest Marvel Legends person in the past, so I wouldn't be able to tell you what mold this came from or what Hasbro could have done with a different mold, and instead they did something else. But I really don't like it when figures have things like this on them, but nothing to put in it, because it really just seems like this came from another figure that had use for this hole in the back, and then for one reason or another they decided to reuse it for this character and didn't plug the hole. And I hope that I'm wrong. I'm hoping like, hey, maybe there's another figure at some point that would make use for this hole, and that's why it's there and it's not obvious immediately when you buy it. But I kind of get the feeling that's not going to happen in this case. So, I really wish that they would have done something about that, because, I don't like gaping holes for no reason on figures. And he doesn't come with any accessories. No interchangeable hands, no effects, no nothing. Just the Build-A-Figure piece, one of the legs for Colossus. So, this is one of these figures that, to me, I would only get them just for the Build-A-Figure piece. And that's pretty much it. I'm kind of disappointed in him. The head sculpt is the best part about him. And yeah, Seldom am I at somewhat of a loss for words for a figure that, I'm not too happy with, but that's just how it is. They can't all be winners. They can't all be home runs, but I was just hoping I was just hoping for something better, from good old Cyclops. Why'd you do my boy Scott like this, Hasbro? Why'd you do him like this? But there's more figures in this wave, and hopefully those won't be as disappointing as this one was for me. So that's it. Got more coming on the way from the Marvel Legends X-Men Age of Apocalypse Colossus Build-A-Figure wave. That's all, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about this figure or the others in this wave in the comments below. And until next time, I'm Jeremy. Talk to you later.